makes a print archival? And does that mean that the print will last forever? Check out today's video and you'll find out. Before I jump into what makes an archival print, please hit the subscribe button below and get notifications on upcoming videos for printing tips and tutorials, which will help you on your printing journey. And also be on the lookout for the comment section below as well for links that will help. Now, an archival print means they're using archival paper and archival ink. Archival paper means that the paper will last for many years, think centuries, before it starts to break down and become brittle. Think about a very old book that might be 100, 200 years, and if you try to bend the sheet, it will just break off. That's why acid-free and lignin-free are what make paper considered archival, because it's the acidity that's what's breaking down the paper. Now, lignin is an organic substance found in wood pulp. The lignin breaks down into acid, which will yellow and discolor the paper over time. Now, lignin's only still used in packaging supplies and newspaper. That's why newspaper yellows very quickly. It's not used in pretty much any offset paper, inkjet paper. And so you don't have to worry about the lignins too much. There are other environmental factors that can lead to yellowing your paper or damaging it over time, such as pollutants in the air as well as UV rays. Now, when it comes to acidity, all paper, archival or not, will become acidic over time, and that is because all paper begins with acidity when it's first made, comes from organic substances, and there's a buffering agent that is used to pH balance out the paper, which decreases the acidity. But there's really truly no such thing as 0.00% acid-free paper, because there's always just the slightest bit. That buffering agent gets as close to pH neutral as possible, but over the years that buffering agent breaks down, and then thus the paper goes back to its more acidic state, and then that increases over the years, thus leading to breakdown and allowing the paper to break down over hundreds of years. Now, what about the ink? Now, pigment ink is considered archival ink, and it's the main determining factor for how long your image will last. Many think it's the paper. It's not, it's the ink. So if you have pigment ink, then you either have archival ink, and whether it's on archival paper or not, your image will last longer than with dye ink. Now, dye ink, rule of thumb, is usually about 20 plus years before fade, whereas pigment is about 50 plus years before fade. Printer manufacturers will say 100 or 200 plus years for pigment and up to 100 for dye, but that's with lab testing. The technology is not 100 years old, so that's using lab testing and also more ideal print storage conditions. Which brings me to my next point, that print storage is key in also making your images last longer. Whether you're using archival paper and ink or not, if you have poor conditions where it's exposed to sunlight or air pollutants such as kitchen smoke, candles, incense, air fresheners, etc., those will all damage the print and it will fade much more quickly or yellow much more quickly. Should you only use archival paper and archival ink? And this really just depends on the final purpose of your print. We have many people saying they have to have it, and because they feel in the market they need to get it. But really think about what the end consumer is going to be using it for. For instance, greeting cards, most likely people will not keep over 20 years. So you dye ink on whether it's archival paper or not. All of our greeting cards, by the way, are archival paper grade. But you don't have to be archival paper because most people usually don't keep it that long. Now, if you're doing a single one and painting in it and making it really unique, if you want to do archival, you can, but like I said, our paper's archival. I don't know if you need to go and buy the more expensive printer to have the pigment ink with it. Some other things I know, we have artists that like to sell prints for, like, rule of thumb is if it's less than $40, I don't believe people are usually planning on keeping that and passing it down to next generations and so on. So usually the consumer is not expecting a print to last over 50 years or even over 20 years if it's just a fun print they bought. Now, if you're selling prints, really unique fine art, limited run fine art prints, or if you're doing portraits, portraits, people might want to pass that one down or at least keep a few prints and pass that down in the family. Those might be better to do at the very least archival ink, because even again, if it's not on archival paper, the ink will make it last longer. And those are conditions you might want to do that. But if you're just a hobby photographer, or maybe you do some nature photography and you'll have it for a few years, but you don't see yourself having it again more than 20 years, I don't really know if it's necessary to have either archival paper or archival ink. But it comes down to you and what you want. Just be prepared that if you're wanting all archival, it's going to be more expensive, and certain papers are going to take a lot more of your time. So that's everything about archival paper. We will have more videos to come. So again, please be sure to click the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up if it's helped you understand the archival print and paper definition. And please be sure to check out some of our other videos that we have posted, some FAQs. And otherwise, have a great day and happy printing.